It's your boy Jive English, and it's been a while since I've been here. It's been a while since we've had this conversational space. But this is English Lit 101. This is where we begin the conversations that have the conversations that may just start to finish some conversations. It's a joy to be here. The world is crazy. It's the first of the month. It's the first of the year, 2026. I'm your boy John English, if I haven't already said that, and this is your opportunity to really key in on really dope conversations that we can have. I am going to grow with you, and hopefully, you are going to grow with me, and then we are going to be able to have some conversations. There are going to be opportunities for us to really key in on each other and really grow. That's really what I hope happens here. So before we get started, I want to make sure my whole setup situation is setting up in its situation. We always have, there's always an opportunity for uh, stuff to go another way. So we are going to jump up. Up jumps the boogie. There we go. I think we got some stuff going on. Yeah, definitely. And you. Alright, I think we're up and running. Alright, yo, let's do it one more time. This is your boy Job English. It's the first of the year, 2026. Happy New Year, all the cool stuff that has been happening in the world. I want you to know that this is a place of thought. This is a place where we get to be original thinkers. This is English Lit 101, where we start to dissect language in its intensity, its intentionalness, and intentional use. And then we're going to grow together. I don't have all the answers. I don't even have all the questions. But together we can grow and make something dope. So before we start out, I want to agree on one thing, that the stories we have been telling ourselves have often mattered more than the facts. And that most of what we argue about isn't the disagreement in and of itself. We are starting to argue over definitions. So every conversation that we have to agree that it begins with language that we didn't choose. So I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to help you question the words we decide to use. So pay attention to the words we use, because they'll tell you how we're allowed to talk about the things. Is that dope? I hope everybody gets that. Yeah, I hope everybody gets that. We're gonna grow in this conversation together. This is English Lit 101. If you could do all the dope things that the kids do, like, share, subscribe, do all the things that the dope kids do. I'll put my logo in the corner. It's not the logo that's going to be for this one, but it is our company logo that I put right in the corner there. Bam! It's like right there. No, there. It's there. 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 It's right there. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a dope conversation. So let's have it. The first conversation I want to have with you guys, man, this is going to be a tough one, because I understand how important this topic has been in creating power. And for an emasculated people, power has become everything. And how we are able to use power as an emasculated people has been through the power of language. So tonight we're going to talk about the explosion, the all-out explosion of therapy speak in our lives. The way we have taken medical, psychological, diagnostic language and brought it into mainstream media, brought it into our IRL relationships, and what damage that might have done, intentionally and unintentionally. I think there were some intentional harms that were created unintentional consequences that may have come home to roost on us. So let's just be real with that. So what we have to do is we have to create the framework. Framing matters. That's another word that matters a lot. We'll get into framing in another segment. But um, we live in a time where suffering is fluent. Everyone knows the words to use. We all use trauma. We all use trigger. We all use boundaries, self care. We all know all the words that we can insulate ourselves with in order to sound educated on the issue of psychoanalysis. We speak them so well that we stop asking who taught us these words and to what benefit does it benefit whatever system that might be at play that we speak this way. Because something curious has really happened. The more language that we gain to identify pain, the less power we actually had to redress it and to gain resilience. There's power in resilience. There's power in not only recognizing what knocked you down, but the mechanisms in place that it takes to help stand back up. And I think that we don't have that conversation about resilience, coping. It's funny that we talk a lot about therapy speak, but one of the words that we don't use a lot is coping mechanisms. So in a weird way, exhaustion has become burnout. Lack of validation has become alienation. What used to be just plain old nervousness is now an anxiety disorder. Grief is a disorder. And when that happens, the system is able to relax because we are now not having the conversation around the systemic mechanisms in play that are producing these outcomes at such a pace that they have been able to create a market around our pain. That's important because this type of language has been able to power and monetize psychological health. That is crazy that we don't talk about that in the ways that we should. We should be talking about why did these words come into our lexicon? What did they do? What did they promise? And what did they not deliver on? That is something very important. We should be talking about how they did not do that. There's a soft lie that we are dealing with when we talk about healing, right? Because healing in that frame means to be able to protect yourself away from accountability, because accountability seems like a blow to healing. So that's my little spill. I hope we all understand where we're going so far. This is not going to be a very long joint, but I really want to have a dope conversation with dope people. If you are hearing anything you like or anything you don't like, man, like, share, subscribe, and hit me up in the chat. Talk to me. I'm definitely in multiple places at the same time. We are definitely open to having what is a dope conversation. I want to make sure, yeah, we are open to having a dope conversation on the matter. So, scripture. Happy New Year's to you, brother. So I definitely want to have this conversation. So let's talk about therapy speak. Therapy speak is, again, the language, the medicinal, medical language around psychological analysis. Some of those words have creeped their way out of medical facilities, counselors' offices, and the places like that, and have creeped into our actual conversations. And so we have to be honest about what happened. Therapy, the language of therapy was meant to be contained within clinical environments. That's what we have to understand. Those words were meant to be language that medical professionals, psychological professionals used in order to help diagnose possible psychological ailments, possible psychological maladies, possible psychological derangement, unfortunately. But that's not what happened. Um, the culture adopted it and started to use it for social management. And there are a few ways social management works. Social management is the way we started to use this language to, as a cudgel almost, to hit our spouses or significant others over the head with. We came out of these therapy sessions, these counseling sessions, with new language that gave us power. That that language was meant for self reflection. It was meant for you to hear the words triggered and understand that there may be language that is inadvertently triggering reactions inside you outside of what was meant. So that trigger was for you to go, when this happens, I realize I feel this way. I have to do the work to dismantle that trigger, to dismantle that. But when you came out of therapy, you understood you had a trigger, and that trigger became your significant other or your family members or your siblings or even your boss's responsibility to tiptoe around. So now your emotions became a minefield that everybody else had to realize it's not their fault for where those triggers are, but it is their responsibility to learn how to navigate your emotional triggers. That's not their responsibility. It never was. The language was meant for self reflection and not social management. It wasn't meant to, when you hear the terms, what's another good one? When you hear the terms narcissistic, which is a ginormous one. When you hear the term narcissist, you don't get to go home and then take every moment that your significant other has any moment of self-interest and then slather narcissism over it as a way to get them to behave in ways that are more amenable to the outcomes that you are trying to have. So it's crazy. So, because everybody knows a narcissist now, everybody's triggered and everybody's traumatized. Every untoward reaction to your behavior or every moment that isn't glorious and beautiful is not a trauma that you faced, but that's how we've adopted some of that language. It gave you a bad memory. So now you're traumatized. Another funny one is a lot of people use the term intrusive thoughts. Those just used to be imaginations. We just used to be able to imagine. Our mind used to just wander sometimes. Our minds don't wander anymore. We are being, when you say something is intrusive, that means it's an attack. That means your own mind is attacking your thought process. Instead of saying, that idea led to another idea that led to another idea. Maybe those ideas aren't the greatest ideas, but if I chase down how I got there, it makes sense to me. But maybe I got distracted, which may be the actual root term that we're using. When we say intrusive thoughts, is, oh, I got distracted. I distracted myself with another thought. See, that takes agency and puts it on you. I heard what you said, and I did something. when you have intrusive thoughts are something that is happening to you, and therefore you don't have to take responsibility for it. And because this institution, I won't even say institution, the industry, the medical industry, big pharma, that whole thing, prefers symptoms that they can create therapies for rather than causes that they can get to the root of and sever. They have got you into a perpetual loop of identifying and performing symptoms to diseases that you prefer to be diagnosed with. Because one of the things that is the hallmark of medicine is the observable symptoms, be they behavioral or clinical. That is the way that they are able to diagnose properly. The problem is when the average everyday person learns the language and learns the behavioral traits of some of these psychological maladies, you are then able to go in and perform them with a level of efficacy that then convinces a well-intentioned clinician to believe that this is an authentic problem when it isn't. And even if that is true, even if so many of us are experiencing the same level of problems, we're experiencing the same level of injury, if millions of people are having the same injury the same way at the same time in the same place, and I've spoken about this on my podcast, then the injury isn't personal, it's systemic. And if that injury leads you to the same clinics over and over and over again, where they can charge you, where they can get your copay, where all these things can happen, then they've created efficiency. It's effective to make you believe that the society, that you not being able to survive society is a personal problem rather than a systemic, than a natural response to an unnatural stimulus. I want us to be very careful going forward when we talk about what language we use when we're talking to each other. We really have to be careful about how we talk about the power that we use in order to keep people in line. Every man that has self-interest is not a narcissist. That's just true. Every moment that you have a memory about a bad moment in time for you, it's not a trigger. We have to get past this point where we have weaponized therapy so we can aim it at the people who we are trying to make behave in ways that make them productive to our outcomes. I hope that makes sense. So let me say this very, very, very clean. Not every reaction is a disorder, and not every injury is a wound, right? A paper cut and a knife wound are both lacerations, But if we just call both of them lacerations, then we lose the nuance of what either one of those are. If I go, oh my, if I go to a doctor and say I've been lacerated, they're going to ramp up their their services to with the expectation that I have been deeply injured when it's a paper cut. You see what I'm saying? And then now that steals the effectiveness of language away from the knife world. So we need to understand that. So now when every bad interaction is a trigger, then people stop interacting. And then now you're dealing with the feeling of being, what's the word I want to use? Abandoned or neglected. When people are just choosing not to be around a person who has become an emotional landmine, a landmine field. So that's where we're at right now. Be thoughtful about the words we use. This is my first one. I think we did good. I don't really want to take too much time away from you. I want you guys to enjoy your new year, man. It's been dope. It's been a tough time getting through the last year. It's been a lot of information going on. A lot of stuff is going on. But this is the place where I want to come and learn and talk and be dope together. Um, that right there, clicked up right there. Um, I really want everybody to like, share, subscribe, be dope, be amazing, be thoughtful, and we're gonna have a dope conversation tomorrow, and we're gonna grow up together. Let's do our thing, man. It's been me, your boy Job English. I want to have a dope conversation with you next time. Hang out with me. This is Clicked Up Studio. Man, it's really dope. This is just a corner where I do all my work and everything, but the whole studio is a great space. So have fun, hang out, do your thing, like, share, subscribe, do all the things that the dope kids